For years now, we've been hearing about how great of a fit Greg Schiano is back as the head coach of the Rutgers Scarlet Knights football program, and how he's going to be the guy to deliver more victories to the fans in Piscataway, New Jersey. But 2023 has to be that year. Can Rutgers chop their way across that 6-win plateau this season?
From LA to Piscataway, all Big Ten all year long. This is Big Ten 10.
That's the goal for Rutgers. It's that 6-win mark. Yes, they went to a bowl game as a 5-win team a couple of years back when somebody had to duck out of a bowl game due to some COVID stuff that was happening, kind of a technicality where they were able to get into a bowl game. But they've yet to get to that 500 mark. They've yet to get to that 6-win mark, the bowl eligibility mark, and I think this is the goal. We've seen incremental improvements from Greg Schiano and this Rutgers football team over the past few seasons, but it just seems like this season, 2023, is the year for Rutgers to really make that jump into bowl eligibility, make that jump to become a postseason football team and win some of these close games, beat some of these teams to make that next step up and continue building that football program at Rutgers. Now, in order for Rutgers to really improve, in order for them to really take that next step, there's one player that needs to take that next step with them, and it's Gavin Wimsat. Okay, Gavin Wimsat at quarterback, right? He came out and he was really dubbed the quarterback of the future in that recruiting class when he stepped in on campus in Piscataway, New Jersey in 2021. You're talking about a consensus 4-star recruit, top 100, top 150 type of guy in the country, Elite 11 finalist. Like, you're talking about a guy that has a lot of tools. You're talking about maybe a guy that is the most high-profile quarterback recruit that Rutgers has ever had. Maybe, when all is said and done, could be one of the better quarterbacks that has ever played football in the red and white in Piscataway, New Jersey, but it just hasn't panned out in his freshman and sophomore seasons. Now, coming in as a freshman, you weren't expecting him to come in like gangbusters and light the world on fire, but still just didn't work out, right, when he was able to find some playing time and hit the field his freshman season. Maybe some people were expecting him to really take a jump, really earn the starting role in his sophomore season. He started 6 games, the final 5 games of the year he was able to start, but his numbers, once again, didn't really pop off the page. And you didn't see a ton of development, especially early in the season, and you saw him maybe behind. There was kind of a quarterback rotation for Rutgers. You saw Noah Vedral in there, a Gavin, of course, and Evan Simon in that quarterback rotation as well. Now, there was a game late in the season where I think Gavin Wimsat really started to look better, and it was that November 12th game late in the season. They went on the road to East Lansing to play Michigan State. He threw for over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns in that game, leaned on the run game. I'll get into that. Leaned on the run game, and things opened up in the pass game, and he was able to go through his progressions, read, and hit some players. Now, there were times in that game and throughout the season where he was a little bit inaccurate, but for the most part, that Michigan State game, you really started to see glimpses of what is to come for Gavin Wimsat at the quarterback position. And in order for Rutgers to really take the next step up as an offense, it's got to be Gavin Wimsat. He's got to take that next step up. He's really got to develop this offseason. He has got to take that quarterback position. He's got to keep a stranglehold on it and say, this is my position, this is my team, and we're going to go forward, and I'm going to lead this team in the passing game. Now, in order for Gavin to really succeed, and really order for Gavin to really take steps forward on the offensive side of the ball, you got to lean on the run game. You got to maybe make it a little bit easier on Gavin Wimsat. Now, the running back room, the run game, I believe is the strength of this Rutgers offense. The running back room might be the deepest room on this Rutgers football team, right? One guy that I really like, and I think he's going to stand out. Unfortunately, his freshman season was cut short due to injury last season. It's Sam Brown. This guy is a load running the football. 6'1", 220 pounds. He is tough to bring down. He is a tough runner. He is a Big Ten type of running back. folks. You look at Sam Brown, 369 yards, 3 touchdowns in 7 games. His best game was probably his last game that he got banged up in. That was the Indiana game where he really ran hard, and he was really starting to separate himself from Kyle Monangai, who stepped up for him when he went down. And Kyle Monangai had a solid season last year. 442 yards, 2 touchdowns. Okay, he's more of a shifty, a smaller back, but he can definitely run north and south, and put head to pad, so to speak, and really bang forward and get the tough yards when you need them. You're going to throw in Aaron Young, a senior, in there as well. You factor in those 3 guys, and this is a really solid running back room at Rutgers. And then you take a look. Like, you can have really good running backs, but you need to have a good offensive line, especially the interior. You have 3 interior offensive line that have logged a lot of Big Ten snaps at Rutgers and that are all seniors right now. You look at Ireland Brown, you look at Mike Sciafone, you look at Curtis Dunlap. Those are all seniors. They've logged games. They've logged starts. This is a solid Rutgers offensive line. This is a Rutgers team that wants to play bully ball. This is a Greg Schiano. That's a Greg Schiano tough, chop, bring your lunch pail to work type of mindset that this Rutgers team has. If they can run the football effectively, Sam Brown stays healthy, Kyle Monangai and Aaron Young are all involved, this could be a very good rushing attack for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights, and it could open things up in the pass game. Now, once again, if Gavin is going to have success, yes, he's going to lean on that run game, open things up in the pass game, but he needs some guys to throw to. He loses his top targets from last season. When you think of Rutgers, you don't exactly think of an explosive offense, electricity, but Aaron Cruikshank really provided that in the receiving game and in the return game kind of as well. So you lose him, you lose Sean Ryan as well. So the question has to be asked, who replaces those guys in the pass game? You go to the transfer portal to fill the need. That's exactly what Greg Schiano and the Rutgers Scarlet Knights were able to do. Transfer wide receiver Nassim Brandley is a top candidate to be that playmaker and the top wide receiver in this offense. 6'3", 200 pounds. He returns home. He's from the Jersey area. Last season at Western Illinois, second team FCS All-American, 53 catches, 893 yards, and 9 touchdowns. I mentioned 6'3". He has the great ability to go up, high point the football, go up and get the football, win those tight one-on-one battles against defensive backs, right? You look at some other guys. How about Johnny Langan, a former quarterback, 3rd on the team in receiving. He's a tight end, 31 catches, 296 yards, and a touchdown. How about Chris Long, 15 grabs, 200 yards, and a score. Last season, you could see Isaiah Washington involved. He had 19 catches, 179 in 2021. How about Rashad Rochelle, another former quarterback? This guy's been involved in the run game. This guy's been involved in the throw game. Watched him on film a little bit, and I could see some sparks to some offense from Rashad Rochelle. Played some Wildcat stuff last season. Now, you bring all this together, and now you've got new leadership on the offensive side of the ball as well. How about Kirk Shiraka, the former offensive coordinator at Minnesota, coming over to the Big Ten East, coming over to Rutgers to be the offensive coordinator here. Of course, coordinated that great 2019 offense at Minnesota. You look at 2021, this was a Minnesota team with some great play, some great players, some big boys on that offensive line that really paved the way for Mohamed Ibrahim. I think Greg Schiano wants to take what he saw at Minnesota and implement that to Rutgers on the offensive side of the ball. That's how, not Minnesota, Rutgers can be successful. Minnesota was successful last year. That's how Rutgers can build on that success. Maybe Greg Schiano and Kirk Shiraka are going to put that together to see how it fits in Piscataway, New Jersey this season. All right, offense has some high points. Some solid play, but there is some aspects to the offense that still needs to be proven. Let's go over to the defensive side of the football. I think this is a strong Rutgers defense. Once again, we're building. You talk about an identity. Rutgers has that chopping, keep going, blue-collar, tough, physical mindset. And the defense is just another example of that. This was a defense that was 8th in the Big Ten in total defense last year. You know, they gave up some points. They were kind of towards the bottom in terms of scoring defense last year. But this is a solid defense that returns a good amount of good players. How about Aaron Lewis, third team All Big Ten in 2022. This season, the preseason, he's a second team preseason All Big Ten defensive end, 55 tackles, 8 tackles for loss. This is a guy, when you talk about quarterback pressure, when you talk about guys that can get into the backfield and wreak havoc, Aaron Lewis is one of those guys that you need to watch out for, right? If you know the big names of the big schools, that's great. But Aaron Lewis is a guy that you need to keep an eye on in terms of being able to get in the backfield consistently and beat opposing offensive tackles. Now, this linebacker group is a very good group at Rutgers. First guy I'm going to take a look at is Deion Jennings, led Rutgers in tackles and tackles for loss last season. 91 tackles, 8.5 TFLs. This is a Jersey kid. It's important to keep these Jersey kids home at Rutgers. It's a solid recruiting base, and the more Jersey kids they're able to keep home, the more of an identity, a base, a culture Rutgers continues to build, and Deion Jennings is a guy. How about Tyreen Powell, preseason All Big Ten type of guy, 71 tackles, 6 TFLs, 3 sacks last season. And then you look at Mohamed Toure. He's back after an injury, kept him out all of last season, led Rutgers in sacks in 2020 and 2021 as well. It's key to have him back. That is a really good linebacking core, folks. Really good linebacking core. Now, once you move on to the secondary, this is a part of a team where they've lost some guys. You lose safety Avery Young, third on the team in tackles, 84 tackles, had an interception. You lose cornerback Christian Braswell, led the team in interceptions with 3 last season. Those are 2 key losses in the secondary. They go to the portal at safety to bring in Minnesota transfer Flip Dixon, 28 tackles and 3 pass breakups last season for the Golden Gophers. That was a decent loss for Minnesota, but is a pretty decent gain for Rutgers back there in the secondary. I talk about corner, what you lost, but I like what Rutgers has at their corners. You look at Max Melton, honorable mention All Big Ten in 2022, third team preseason All Big Ten. He started 22 games over the course of the last 2 years at corner, 2 interceptions and 10 pass breakups. How about this? Led the nation in block kicks last season with 3, according to the Rutgers website. You look at Robert Longerbeam as well, 6 starts last year, 36 tackles, 2 interceptions, and second on the team in pass breakups with 6. You look all across this Rutgers defense. This is a solid unit. Nothing is going to be easy against Rutgers. I think it's that way on offense, and I think it's definitely that way on the defensive side of the football as well. You're not going to be able to earn easy yards against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. They're going to make things difficult. I think this is going to be a solid, improved unit on the defensive side of the football. Now, we've talked about offense. We've talked about defense. So when you add it all together, what can Rutgers exactly do? Can they get to that 6-win plateau in 2023? That's what everybody up in Jersey has their eye on. Let's take a look at the schedule for the red and white of Rutgers. Now, it is so key. If you want to get to that 6th win, we open the video with that point. We're going to kind of close the video with this point. If you want to get to that 6-win mark, that Northwestern game on that Sunday on CBS, you hate to call game number 1 a must win, but you gotta win at home, a winnable Big Ten game against a team that you're probably better than. Temple and Virginia Tech were both 3-win teams a year ago. Starting off 3-0, they could be a 4-1 start. You factor in Wagner, of course, on the road at Michigan. A 4-1 record going into the month of October could really build the spirits of a lot of people, really build a lot of interest in Rutgers football in the New Jersey area. I have my eye on October 14th and October 21st as possible games to get to bowl eligibility. Michigan State. Look how well Rutgers competed with MSU last year. This is a Michigan State that doesn't have Peyton Thorne. They don't have Keon Coleman. They don't have Jaden Reed. We know the losses that they had on the offensive side of the football. Rutgers has them at home. I think that could be a winnable game. And then you take a look at Indiana as well for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. That's a couple of Big Ten wins right there. It's tough to see anything. Ohio State, Iowa, and Penn State. Maybe Maryland. Maybe at the end of the season, they can give Maryland a fight, force some turnovers, and maybe get a victory there. But it is so key to starting off good early in the season. Getting those victories early in the season could get Rutgers to that plateau they want to get to, could get them to that 6-win level. That's what all the Rutgers personnel, coaches, players, and especially the fans have their eye on. Can we get to that 6-win level? This is a solid Rutgers football team. It is not going to be easy to play Rutgers. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Michigan or I don't care if you're Northwestern. I don't care who you are. It's not going to be easy to play Rutgers. This is a tough, physical team. If you're not tough and you're not physical, Rutgers is going to welcome you to that style of play. I'm very intrigued because this seems to be the year where Gavin Wimsat has to take the next step. Greg Schiano and this team has to take the next step. It's going to be interesting to see if Rutgers can get to bowl eligibility and maybe win a postseason game.
Thanks for watching Big Ten TED, where it's all Big Ten all year long. Make sure to like the video to spread the word of Big Ten TED to the masses, and subscribe to the channel for updates on Big Ten content that drops every day.